It was our ancestors who paved the way for all who followed. Our blood cakes the earliest worlds claimed by mankind during the Great Crusade. There is no foe of humanity we have not faced, no foe we have not conquered. We are the blade of the Omnissiah, and we are ever sharp.
Welcome to another Codex reaction. So we're not calling them reviews because everyone does that, but we are looking at the new Codex for Imperial Knights that just came out, and we're very, very excited. GW has graciously sent this to us in advance, and we get to do it again! Right here to my right is Jind.
I love Knights. I've been playing Knights since the beginning.
You have every single Codex that we see here, and a whole lot of Knights.
I have every single Codex minus one. I have a whole bunch of Knights, but also friends. So Daniel Knight graciously lent us Knights for the show, and John Fulkowski lent his Knights for the show. So we love Knights. I love everything about Knights.
And recently, right now, in Canada, I think you're #1 in the ITC.
Canada, #1 by a landslide.
Well done.
In Canada. #4 in the world, which is more important. And the top 3 people have one more event in hand. So I'm coming for you folks, so watch out. I do all things in the hobby. I'm also one of the original Warhammer heroes.
That's right on. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So happy to have you here, and hopefully you can speak a lot into what you like about the new Codex and what's changed. We also have over here Chloe.
Hello. I've been around the Warhammer community, I want to say, for about 11 years, but I didn't actually start playing until last year. So I think I've only been playing for about 9 months, maybe 10 months. I originally wanted to go with sisters because, of course, they're pretty and they're women. But I did not realize how technical they were, so a bunch of my friends that I was playing with, they suggested that I start playing with Knights because I was going to a tournament, and I've been playing them ever since, and I don't know that I'm going to stop.
That's awesome. And if, correct me if I'm wrong, but you actually did pretty well your first year.
I did.
In terms of ITC ranking.
I did, yeah. I ranked 5 in Canada.
That's amazing.
So that was pretty cool.
For a first year.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have 2 very qualified people to be talking about this new Codex. Now, I am not an Imperial Knight player. I've never played Imperial Knights. I have always dreaded facing them because I've always found them a tough battle.
Apart from the one time you smacked me in that tournament with your Tau.
So awesome.
And that was your old Tau.
I had one model left and he managed to do this like janky kind of jump and take an objective. Objective secured, taking it away from the Knights. It was awesome. A lot's changed, and overall, you guys have had a chance to look through this now, and overall, thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you feel? How do you feel about it? Initial reaction?
Well, initially I was a little thumbs down, but it's only because I haven't been playing for very long and I've been playing with the same kind of 7 models. But the more I read into it and the more I looked at the stratagems and the relics, I started to gear more towards a thumbs up. So I don't know, I'm pretty excited to play it.
It was a roller coaster. So as humans, we are the most evolved race on the planet, and we've changed in seconds in the cosmos of time. But as humans, we hate change. We hate change. As gamers, we detest and deplore change. This book has changed everything. Upon reflection, and after a great cup of hot chocolate, I'm going to give this a solid 2 thumbs up.
Okay, well, expand upon that. Okay, why are you giving it 2 thumbs up? What made you change your mind after reading through it?
Well, we look at the previous books. We've had Craftwells, Tau, Custodes, Dark Eldar, I guess, to an extent, and the Grey Knights, and then now the Tyranids, and all these books come out steaming and roaring out of the gates. 1,000 miles per hour, breaking all kinds of speed records. And they're going so fast that every other runner on the track is still literally tying up the shoelaces, and the other codexes are lapping them. Along comes the Imperial Knights. Now this is coming off the back of some of the most absolutely crazy bananas books that we've seen in a long time. We've seen win rates in the 80-90% plus with Adultery Harlequins. This is not that. This book is not that. This is not going to come roaring out of the gates. But what this book is going to do is, look at this. Look how many Knights we have on the table. So many Knights. And guess what? For the last 2 competitive years of my life, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 models out of all of these. Now, after just having a brief study of the book, we're going to be seeing some unexpected units come out that we've not seen for a while. This is always exciting because now I'm like, I literally don't know which way to go. Whereas before it was like, well, it's a competitive game tomorrow. I'll bring out the trusty 6.
So there's new tools and new abilities, and it feels like you might have a wider range of selection now, rather than just, I have to take these if I want to actually win a game. So before we dive too much more into the actual rules and stuff let's talk a little bit about what knights actually are, like the lore of it. So knights are these obviously big, stompy robots. They are the allied to the Imperium, and for lack of a better term, a given sense of the good guys.
The goodest of good, actually. We are probably one of the few survivors of All Night. They survived heresy, they've survived demonic incursions, and all thanks to the Throne Mechanicum. And they have been the stalwart defenders of humanity before they were even Space Marines. So these are the ultimate champions of humanity. This is an army of Captain Americas.
They believe in virtue, they believe in holding to their oaths, they believe in honor and chivalric code, and they're just darn cool. Nice. You've got shooty robots, you've got close combat robots, you've got robots that shoot big giant missiles at you, and you've got robots that I'm terrified to face because they just have so many guns on them.
And chainsaws.
And chainsaws. Chain swords.
Chain swords, sorry.
There's a lot of options on how you equip them, from little shoulder-mounted cannons to big missile racks to volcano cannons and plasma cannons and battle cannons, and it's a lot.
It is a lot.
It is a lot. And what I've noticed about the Codex too is that you can really customize it a little bit more.
Yeah, like Space Marines, you really have a Space Marine and you might have a different weapon, but now you have a knight, and it has many different ways of customizing it.
Absolutely.
Not only its weapon loadout, but maybe some veterancy status or different kind of honors it has or something like that.
Absolutely.
If you are a true knight player, so what I mean by that is the book's been around for a long time, and the rules have not really been there to reflect what we've been reading since the beginning of time in the stories. So all that's the single biggest change that this Codex has brought, which is probably the most exciting thing. This is genuinely Codex Imperial Knights. All the big knights can now influence the small knights, the babies, in ways that we've never been able to do before. And so I think that's the single most exciting change, is that the knights are actually going to play like knights, including all the rules that you were talking about, the way the grand strategies work. And if you can hold your oaths and your vows, and if you do it, you're great, you get more power, and if you don't, you're not going to be so good. So it's just incredible.
There's a lot of customization, and every army seems to currently in 9th edition, in especially the latest kind of iteration of 9th edition, they've added this kind of ability to get changes as the game goes, like basically benefits as the game goes. And in this, for Imperial Knights, it's something called the Code Chivalric. So walk me through how this works.
So it's brilliant. Basically, there's an option of you can take up to 4. The Warhammer community, for example, discussed a couple of them, like Defend the Realm.
You take a pledge. I'm going to do this with my army.
That's right. If you control more objective markers than your opponent, you will gain a point of honor. And once you have a point of honor, your entire army, suddenly, at the start of each command phase, you'll gain an additional CP, so 2 CP. In addition, you can take a second code. So we're going to lay low the tyrants. So if you are able to destroy one or more warlord character monsters or vehicles in close combat, you'll gain another point of honor. And as the game goes on, if you fulfill your pledge, you get more honor, and then you get to the empowered version of that, and now you get even more rules. But if you're cowardly and you back away from your word of honor, you lose honor, and so it could go down. And there are other ways to boost that as well during the game, so that's a really cool mechanic.
So it's cool rules that encourage you to play thematically. I am always in favor of rules like that, and I feel like that's been the theme through all of the codexes that we've been reviewing on this channel, has been rules to encourage you to play thematically and allow you to play how you feel your army should play.
Yes.
Do both of you guys feel like you could have fun playing this codex?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm actually looking forward to, as we like to coin it, use the murder babies.
Yes.
More so.
Murder
These
babies.
lovely
We've invented
little,
a new phrase today, murder babies.
Murder babies.
Is the single biggest change and excitement in the book is the coming of the murder babies.
Okay, tell me about that. Why has it changed?
Well, because you always seem to put them out just to kind of get, well, especially since they got OBSEC. So they would kind of come out and they would get your objective, but you almost kind of sacrifice them. And there wasn't really much that you could do with it. I mean, you have your Castellan in the back, kind of, making sure things are going okay. You've got your errant, maybe you're gonna wrap him around to do a little bit of melee hand-to-hand combat. And you just kind of, you know, they would either sit behind something safe or you would kind of have to sacrifice them. So now you can use the Preceptor and then you can tell these guys what to do and give them extra boosts.
That's right, and finally he matches his lore, but you know, the biggest thing I think that I wasn't expecting is that you can take an army of murder babies, you get command point refunds.
Yes.
You don't get the full refunds as if you took the big guys, but you do get some refunds. But you can make Combat Patrol take 3 little babies and make one of them into a character. You heard that here first, you can make them a character. Yes. They got a warlord trait, or we were both doing a little happy dance while you was kind of pottering around and getting the studio ready. Remember that 2 command point strat that you pointed out where they can all fall back and still do all their shooting and stuff?
Correct.
Oh my
Correct.
gosh.
That's pretty fantastic.
It was hilarious. Well, so we brought them here to the studio earlier to take a look at the book and give us some thoughts on it and stuff like that. And I was setting up the studio, and the whole time I'm setting up the studio, I'm like, "This is awesome! I can't wait for this! No way! What's that? No way! That's amazing!" Yeah. It was quite entertaining.
I mean, for 2 CP guys, you can fall out of combat and shoot. It's huge.
Yeah.
Preceptor, he allows one of them to perform an action and still shoot. There's so much you can do with this. Oh, that disappear into the night one that you found.
Okay, so
That's
it's a
cool.
favorite stratagem. Talk about it.
That's cool. So it's called flanking maneuvers.
But you shall forever call it disappear into the night.
We shall forever call it disappearing into the night, much like the murder babies. So typically in a game, you would declare what you're going to keep in reserves, and then your opponent knows what you're going to keep in reserves, so they're going to kind of flank you and make sure that you can't get on the table or affect them in any way. What you can do during your gameplay, you can spend 1 CP. One CP.
One. You heard.
The only number that counts, number 1.
And you can take said murder babies off
2
of the
babies.
table.
2
Two
babies.
babies off of the table and put them in reserves.
I don't think you know how amazing this is, guys, because 1, you saved the command point, because each armature murder baby costs 1 CP to reserve anyway. But the biggest thing is, I'm playing Nick's infamous and hated and reviled Tau Empire, and I say to him, I'm gonna put 2 guys into strategic reserve. He's like, well, let's see. And he'll zone me out and he'll do this, and during deployment, he'll do all of this stuff. But now, at any point during the game, as long as my guys are within 6 inches of an edge, I can just pick them up, bam, put them into reserves. He has no idea where they're coming from. I can now go for secondary objectives I've never dreamt of, behind enemy lines. It's not that often you can go for that one, but now I can bring both my babies on.
So you've got more options for casual and narrative type play. You've got more options for competitive play. It feels like Games Workshop's given you basically the ability to play this army more and interact with more of the game.
I'm very, very much looking forward to maintaining my winning streak against my husband's NIDS.
Right. Okay, so later on, we are having Chloe back. She is going to be playing the Imperial Knights. Her husband is Brent, who's been on the channel before, playing his NIDS in a couple different games on our channel, and we're going to have them back and see if the big stumpy robots can beat the big giant bugs.
We're going to see what it looks like when the big stompy robots.
Yes,
beat the big
I like that
giant
confidence.
bugs, right?
People will be happy to know we've got staples like Rotate Iron Shields is still there. It's more expensive. It's only 1 point for the kids and 2 points for the grown-ups.
Yeah.
Having said that, there are now two ways to get a permanent full-time 4+ invulnerable save, a real invulnerable save, not a fake one, for 2 of the big guys. So that's going to offset the increased cost in rotating iron shields. And we still have the ability to shrug off mortal wounds on a 5+.
Yes.
But it's not all songs and dances, because we have lost what we would call staples. We've lost the ability to run and charge. That's no longer available as a strat. And Chloe mentioned one insanely huge change about the movement stats that I completely missed the first time round. They're slower.
They're much slower. Castellan down to 8.
Yeah.
Errants at 10, Wardens 10, Crusaders 10,
Actually,
Gallants 12.
Gallant's the only one that remained at 12,
Gallant
and
is
the
the only one that
Gallant
remains at
has
12,
got
yeah.
more murderous in combat, because now the Power Fist no longer suffers the -1 to hit.
And we do lose Cold Eradication, which was my favorite. with
That was
Castellan.
huge.
That was really
That was
fantastic.
huge. Technically, by the letter of the word, there is no data sheet in this book. However, thanks to the reinventing of rules and the tweaking of how things will work, as a knight player, there's actually quite a few data sheets that we will actually now read and explore and use in the game. So as far as I'm concerned, there's actually quite a few named data sheets in this book, because previously
There was only 1 or 2.
it was 4, right? One of them was from an index book from Forge World.
Some other big things that have also changed. Titanic Feet is gone.
Yeah, Stompy Feet is gone.
Which I'm really happy about. But
I don't know, I liked it.
I love it. I
love
hated
being
it.
able to just
Instead, they seem to have they seem to have baked that into more of the close combat weapons.
They have.
We are titanic, towering engines of destruction. We are not breakdancers, okay? And yet across the
it's so much
Intermaterium,
fun just to
across the
squash all
world,
those
you
little
know,
bugs.
all we had was just people doing jazz hands and just dancing feet and stuff. The Dominus class better in combat than before, but he doesn't get the stompy feats, but everybody else gets it on the swords, and they're way better now.
The Reaper chain swords.
Yeah, you'll actually get to use them.
And then one other weapon that I've always experienced was the volcano cannon. So that changed quite a bit. I actually still think it's really cool.
It's terrible.
I think it depends on how you roll.
No.
Right?
So it changed. It changed to, instead of D6 shots, it's D3 shots, but the strength of the weapon
damage.
way up, and the damage is way up.
To the left, we have an excitable puppy who plays Tau and likes damage.
I like high risk, high reward weapons. I really do.
We all know with D3 shots, how many times do you roll a 1? Quite a lot. How many times do you CP roll that into a 1? Quite a lot.
Quite a lot.
On an average roll, you're going to get 2 shots. If you're really lucky, 3 shots. So D3 shots versus D6. What are we getting in exchange for this? Still the same range. Still the same strength.
No, that's
No,
way
no,
different strength.
strength-
It's now strength 16.
Oh,
Strength goes
okay.
up, strength
So the
goes
strength
up.
goes. So
You're
we
winning
roll-
most things on
Two
twos.
twos. Still -5. He's excited because it's D6
plus
8.
8.
But would you rather not have D6 shots, an average of 3 to 4 shots?
Okay.
I don't know. I think
Right.
I would really have to
3D
put it
free?
into play.
In a
You
game.
can't do
we
that.
will
You
disagree,
can't
but
do that.
you do have the record to speak to experience. I do not. So I might bow to you on that one. But overall,
Lots of big winners.
you happy? You're
I'm
excited?
very excited. I'm very excited.
Once you get over the fact that your army has changed, dive deep into the book, give yourself an hour, go drink some hot chocolate, get over the initial disappointment that your army has changed, and then go back with fresh eyes, and you will be dancing the extinct Happy Feet dance that we would all be dancing through 8th and in the beginning of 9th, because there's so many ways you can play. And armager spam was the way to go in competitive play. We have probably trebled or quadrupled our power at no points cost. If your jam was just all babies, murder babies, you are gonna love it. If your jam was the big guys, have some readjustment in mind, but there are some really, really great ways to interact with the big and the small. And that's one thing that this book has done that other books haven't, because sometimes you get craft worlds where you get Harlequins and you get the Eldari and so on and so forth, but each is its own independent faction in many ways within the same book.
Yeah.
This is a fully integrated codex. So it doesn't matter if you want to go all big, all small, or a mix, it's integrated and you will get lots of reward and what have you.
More fun, more options, better book.
Yes,
There we go.
Ooh.
You heard it here.
minus the volcano lands.
Minus
Minus
volcano lands. But we will.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That's okay. There are other good things in here,
Yeah.
and it does make me want to try Knights. Can I borrow some? Well, guys, thank you so much for coming out for this reaction. Your thoughts are valuable and very, very fun to hear. As I said before, I think all the new codexes have great internal balance. I think there's a lot of positive things to think about the new codexes, and I'm actually really excited to play Warhammer these days. So, from here at Play On, this is Nicholas.
Gin and tonic like the drink.
And Chloe.
Until we see you next time,
Lay on!
Play On. Yeah.